Professor Kethavar adjusted his translucent wings nervously as he addressed his xenobiology class at the prestigious Galactic Academic Institute. Today's lesson would be unprecedented. The Zephyrian educator had taught comparative species studies for 3 decades, but never had he attempted to bring a representative from a class Todine Deathworld into his classroom. "Students," he began, his voice carrying the musical tones characteristic of his species. "Today we welcome our first human to the Institute. As you know from your studies, Earth is classified as one of the most hostile environments known to harbor intelligent life." The classroom buzzed with excitement. 43 students from 12 different species shifted in their varied seating arrangements. The crystalline Vorthak chimed softly with anticipation, while the aquatic Nefari bubbled in their specialized tanks. None had ever seen a creature from a death world in person. Marcus Chen stood outside the classroom door, wearing the standard issue environmental suit that had been hastily modified for his physiology. The human graduate student had volunteered for the cultural exchange program, though he wasn't entirely sure what he'd gotten himself into. Through the transparent aluminum window, he could see the diverse array of alien students waiting inside. "Now remember," Professor Kethavar continued, his 4 eyes scanning the room, "humans are what we classify as pursuit predators. Their world has conditioned them for relentless hunting behavior. They have binocular vision, forward-facing eyes, and—" He paused dramatically. "They sweat." A collective gasp rippled through the classroom. Several students instinctively moved away from where the human would enter. "Sweating," the professor explained, "is a hunting adaptation that allows them to chase prey for hours, sometimes days, until the target collapses from exhaustion. No other known species possesses this terrifying ability." The door hissed open, and Marcus stepped inside. At 6 feet tall, he towered over most of the alien students, though he was actually considered average height for his species. His simple presence seemed to electrify the room. "Hello, everyone," Marcus said with a warm smile. "I'm Marcus. Thanks for having me." Professor Kethavar translated, though the universal translator handled most of the communication. "Notice the exposed dental structures," he whispered to his students. "Those are weapons designed for tearing flesh." Marcus caught the translation and couldn't help but chuckle. "Actually, Professor, I'm a vegetarian." The statement caused pandemonium. Students began chattering in their various languages, and the professor's wings fluttered in confusion. "Impossible," Professor Kethavar stated. "Your species evolved as apex predators. Your entire physiology screams hunter." "Well, yes and no," Marcus replied, settling into a reinforced chair that had been specially constructed for his weight. "Apparently, humans were considered exceptionally dense by galactic standards. We're omnivores, actually, and while our ancestors were hunters, most of us today choose what we eat based on personal preference, ethics, or health considerations." A brave Vorthak student chimed up, her crystalline form refracting light as she spoke. "But your pursuit, hunting abilities, surely you use them for warfare?" Marcus shook his head. "I'm actually a marathon runner. I use those abilities for sport and personal fitness. The same endurance that helped my ancestors hunt now helps me run 26.2 miles for fun." "For fun?" Professor Kethavar's voice cracked slightly. "Yeah. Last month I ran through the Rocky Mountains for 12 hours straight. Beautiful scenery." Marcus pulled out his phone and showed pictures of mountain vistas and running trails. A Nefari student bubbled from her tank. "But surely you must hunt something. Your instincts—" "Oh, I do hunt," Marcus said, and every student in the room tensed. "I hunt for the perfect pizza recipe. Took me 3 years to get the dough just right." The silence was deafening. "You hunt food recipes?" "Professor," Kethavar asked weakly. "And rare books. I collect first editions of science fiction novels. Last month, I tracked down a 1953 copy of Childhood's End through 6 different antiquarian bookshops across 3 states. Took me 4 days, but totally worth it. A small, furry Palaxian student raised what might have been a paw. What about your pack-hunting behavior? Humans are known for their terrifying coordination in groups. Marcus brightened. Oh, you mean teamwork? Yeah, we love that. I'm part of a hiking club, a book club, and I volunteer at the local animal shelter. We coordinate to help abandoned pets find new homes. You care for the offspring of other species? The professor was now frantically taking notes. Sure. My apartment back on Earth has 2 rescue cats, a 3-legged dog, and I foster rabbits. Sometimes. Marcus showed more pictures on his phone. The room fell silent again as the images of Marcus cuddling with various Earth animals circulated among the students. Finally, a brave Zephyrian student, similar to the professor, spoke up. But your world, the constant disasters, the predators, the hostile environment, how do you not develop into savage killers? Marcus considered this thoughtfully. I think maybe that's exactly why we don't. When you live on a world that's constantly trying to kill you, you learn that the only way to survive is to work together, to help each other, to care for those who can't care for themselves. He paused. Plus, we figured out that cooperation and compassion are much more efficient than constant fighting. Professor Kethvar set down his stylus and looked at Marcus, with a mixture of confusion and awe. So you're telling me that the most hostile environment in known space produced a species that runs for pleasure, hunts for recipes, and voluntarily cares for other species' young? Pretty much, Marcus nodded. Though I should mention, I also knit, made these socks myself. He lifted his foot to show off colorful, hand-knitted socks with a cat pattern. The classroom erupted in amazed chatter. In the span of 1 hour, everything the Galactic Academic Institute thought they knew about Deathworld species had been turned upside down. As the class ended, students surrounded Marcus, asking questions about Earth, about humans, about his knitting patterns. The terrifying predator from the Deathworld had become the most popular student on campus. Professor Kethvar shook his head in wonder. Perhaps it was time to revise the textbooks. After all, as he was learning, the most dangerous thing about humans wasn't their ability to hunt. It was their capacity to completely exceed every expectation.